Who's gonna win? Maybe somebody protests when you say speak now, forever hold your peace.
I want to see the spread. I want to see the sheet on who's got what.
Right now, you lose.
What if we take bets on somebody pops up to protest? You know, a sworn lover.
Right now, you're loose.
I don't know.
You look like a funeral director today.
We have taken out the part that where it says if anybody objects.
Taking that
Yeah, we take that out.
I will not. I will not part. Yes, you
So I sit down the night before council, in the morning of, and I'll usually do a little prayer. And I think about it for a while, and I'll put something together. But
Thing.
So you're gonna make a. You gotta do something. Well,
Mr. Manager, we ready to proceed? All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
And a beautiful day in the greatest city on earth. We're gonna ask Alderman Curtis Pertee to lead us in our opening prayer.
no zingers.
Huh?
No zingers. Nothing.
Well, look, since you went there,
The day is still- the
we're
day is
asking
still-
we're asking the newlywed to be to lead us in word
All
of
right,
prayer.
awesome. There we go. All right, if y'all would please bow your head in prayer and go to prayer with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with humility and gratitude, asking for your presence to guide this council and our community. Grant us strength in moments of challenge, clarity in times of decision, and wisdom as we serve those who have entrusted us with this awesome responsibility. In a time when our nation feels divided, and sometimes our community, we ask for unity. Help us listen with open hearts and lead with compassion and to seek common ground over conflict. Remind us that we are stronger together, bound by a shared purpose and a hope for a better future. Lord, we ask for courage to do what is right even when it is difficult, courage to stand firm in our values, and courage to lead with integrity and fairness for all. Lord, we take a moment to honor and remember the brave police officers who have given their lives in the line of duty as we reflect during National Police Week. We pray for their families, their colleagues, and their communities. May their sacrifice never be forgotten, and may their legacy inspire us to work toward peace and towards justice. We also lift up the students in our public schools in our community here in Savannah, who are preparing to graduate in the coming days. Bless them with confidence, purpose, and opportunity as they step into the next chapter of their lives. Surround them with encouragement and guide their paths towards a bright and meaningful future. May all that we do here today be done with respect, purpose, and a commitment to the greater good, but mostly with love in our hearts. In the name of God the Creator, Christ the Redeemer, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Alderman Pertee.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Gentlemen, organizationally, do we have executive session issues today?
None for me, sir.
Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's good news. So we're gonna go ahead, start off with a workshop agenda. This is something that staff has been asking about for quite some time, and I appreciate city manager and team's diligence in providing, as they had committed to doing, a presentation about illegal dumping and an exciting, hopefully exciting discussion about glass recycling. So, Mr. Manager, it's on you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, before, Mr. Clerk is out handling district business, so standing in for him is Gwendolyn Jones, the Deputy Clerk of Council. All the way from Albany, Georgia.
I half expected you, Mayor, to begin the workshop with dearly beloved.
I was going to. See? Is anybody here?
Speak now. And you better hold your peace.
Yes.
So we're trying to take some, well, I'm gonna say this, but we're taking some bets about the ugly cry, so if anybody wants to just see me afterwards, we're taking some, we have a line.
There is a reason that Linda calls me what?
Big baby.
Big baby.
Oh, Lord.
It's gonna happen too.
Saturday's the day.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Aldermen and Alderwomen. we know that one of the biggest challenges that we face in terms of our quality of life and municipal service standards is illegal dumping. And in 2024, with the creation of the Government Operations Service Center and the addition of Park and Tree to that service center, we created a task force around illegal dumping. So we want to begin today with members of that task force talking through what we know about illegal dumping, what we've done to increase our abatement, our enforcement, what we're trying to do now to enhance both of those efforts, what challenges we persistently face in both the abatement and the enforcement and compliance pieces to illegal dumping. And then we're going to talk a little bit about things we are going to be bringing forward to council for consideration that we think may help in both the abatement and the enforcement and compliance and deterrence efforts for illegal dumping. I want to mention right off the bat that this is an issue that every member of council has talked to me about over the last several years, and glad that we're spending time today talking about this important issue. And so just want to get that out, that this has been a priority for council to get underway. So we're going to hear from our Senior Director of Solid Waste Management, Kiwana Andrews. We're going to hear from our Senior Director of Code Compliance, Cynthia Knight. We're going to hear from our Senior Director of Park and Tree, Gordon Denny. These are leaders within our government operations team, which of course is led by our Chief Gene Pravat. We'll get through the illegal dumping discussion, which we hope will be a discussion, and then turn to our other items, which is our 10-year solid waste management plan, which is going to be coming before council later this summer, and some good news about glass recycling that we'll be hopefully bringing back to our community very soon. So with that, let me hand it over to Chief of Government Operations, Mr. Gene Pravat.
Thank you, Mr. Milder. Good morning, Mayor and Alderman.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking the time to hear us. We've already introduced our senior staff. We have a strong showing from our sanitation transitioning to a named solid waste department in the back. We have Division Director John Dinion, residential refuse collection, recycling, commercial, and litter abatement, Division Director Fonda Mason. We have Carla Space, who is Special Projects Manager in sanitation. We have Brad Moll, who is our Planning and Operations Coordinator, and Miss Leah Scott Thompson, who is our Keep Savannah Beautiful Executive Director. So thank you all for showing up.
Good job, team.
All right, and again, all these are items that are close to everybody's heart. First thing that's very encouraging is our GPS alignment. You can see that 5 of 6 strategies under our objective 1 under quality of life and improving municipal service standards are folded in under this. A few statistics and background. Our illegal dumping task force, the mergers of solid waste, code compliance, and Park and Tree form the nexus of our task force. These are the principal agencies that are working on illegal dumping. There's also a group of us, multidisciplinary, across the city organization where we meet monthly to collaborate and coordinate on problems like this. And it's very broad-based. It includes, I think, just about every service center in the city, and it's about 25, 30 people we gather every month. Okay, here's some background on the common materials that are discarded. These are the major categories. Debris and objects is the largest category by far, with over 80% being things that are discarded from move-outs and the like. Construction debris is about 13% of what we're seeing out on the street, And then tires are about 5%. Tires are particularly onerous because they require completely separate handling and regulation under the Solid Waste Management Act. Typical locations are vacant lots, back streets and lanes, roadside shoulders and highways, remote and isolated areas, and railroad crossings and things like that. Additional data. These are code cases separated by district over the last 3 years. As you can see, it's fairly low citywide comparative to the first district. And first district probably has 3 to 5 times more than any other district in the city. District 5 is a close second. Here is data on our right-of-way cleanups by the sanitation department. You can see the trend. It's increasing year by year. We hit a low back during COVID because there was so little activity going on, business activity. Our peak last year was over 1,200 collections, which is, basically 100 a month. And then year to date, we're at about 750 collections. And at this point, I'm going to ask Cynthia Knight to come up.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, and all. I'm Cynthia Knight, the Senior Director for the City of Savannah Code Compliance Department. I'm going to be sharing. Okay, thank you. I'm going to be sharing some information in regards to enforcement and illegal dumping in our community. As you can see from these photos, that we come across illegal dumping sites that are massive. They are very costly, and they require a coordinated effort to get these sites clean. And when we come across these sites, we are seeing them on private property as well as on public property along the right-of-way. So as Chief Purvett shared, we have common locations where we're finding the illegal dumping. Let's look into the enforcement process. Our enforcement process includes investigating the illegal dumping sites, documenting the evidence that we find, issuing notices, and legal action may follow if we are able to build a strong enough case. Alongside that is the coordinated cleanup with the multiple departments, code compliance, solid waste, and park and tree. We also find that education is a vital component. Informing the community about proper waste disposal and environmental impacts may help prevent illegal dumping incidents. Here we have our hotspot location by yearly comparison. Each year we track locations with frequent dumping. And what we're seeing is that the locations are increasing year by year. These locations come to us by way of us as city employees working in the community, from many of you in the room informing us of these locations, and from our citizens. And we're finding that these locations are frequently being used. So we basically have committed to conducting bi-weekly inspections. Many of the locations are weekly, but bi-weekly inspections, going by there, being proactive, taking action to have the site clean without having the citizens having to call through the 311 system to be serviced. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Director Q. Andrews from Solid Waste.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Good morning, Executive Leadership, and all others in attendance. We're going to start off talking about the abatement process, which our team, Solid Waste, all of our solid waste professionals, this is where we do the magic. This is where the magic happens. The very first thing we do is we go out and we want to identify where that site is. We do it via field observation, but there are opportunities for the public to chime in via our 311 and our 311 app, or they can call the customer service line. Sorry. There we go. And then we want to investigate, and then we want to determine the source, size, and scope of the illegal dumping site. We want to also make sure we collaborate with other teams that will include us, solid waste, park and tree, code compliance, and other departments throughout the city. And then once we understand exactly where the illegal dumping is taking place, if it's right away, of course, that will be us going out and to abate it. If it's city property, it's Gordon's team in park and tree. And if it's private property, it will be Cynthia's team in code compliance. And then once we collect and clean up the site, we go back and we inspect it. So we want to review the site work to ensure it's completed up to standards. And here are our cleanup calls from FY24 all the way to FY26 to date. As you can see, the city has spent a total of $597,622 abating these sites. So that's total cost, and again, including our solid waste, park and tree, doing both city property and encampments, and code compliance, the number of code cases they've processed. And then we have our education and outreach arm within the solid waste department, which consists of Keep Savannah Beautiful. That's our major contributor. As you can see, some of the key events and highlights on the slide for FY26, just highlighting some things, our spring community cleanup. We had participation across all cleanups of 487 volunteers, and then we were involved in 15 neighborhoods who helped out in that effort. And then you can see the 4 areas of impact: improve neighborhood cleanliness. We made sure we enhanced partnership. We made sure we heighten awareness, and we sustain momentum for the future. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce Mr. Gordon Denny, Park and Tree Senior Director.
All right. Good morning, Mayor and Council, executive team. Again, I am Gordon Denny, the Senior Director of the city's Park and Tree Department. I'm going to be going over our challenges, what we've done, what we are doing, and where we want to go next. So beginning with our challenges, here you'll see our main challenges. We deal with issues such as behavioral factors, repeat offenders, people that just litter constantly. Cleanup cost recovery is a challenge to us, getting the funds back we spend. Contractors and other dumpers, again, these contractors that are dumping illegally in the right-of-way become challenges. Limited monitoring and violator identification to illegal dumping, being able to have enough eyes and on the street, and be able to see these people doing these actions. Low awareness or motivation to report illegal dumping. Obviously, we're not getting a lot of reports on them, on who's doing them. And then easy access to dump sites, whether it's in the right-of-way or on one of our vacant city-owned lots. So what have we done? To date, we have added 2 additional knuckle boom grapple trucks, you'll see in the photograph here, to the solid waste fleet. These help with the pickup and collection of these illegal dumps. In FY23, Council approved expansion of the litter program by adding 3 crews to specifically address litter issues. Expanded Rock the Block events, which we know started in District 3 and has just spread throughout, and it's been a great program. As Q mentioned earlier, we've coordinated neighborhood cleanups through Keep Savannah Beautiful. We developed a hotspot tracking, as Director Knight mentioned earlier, and we've been installing no dumping signage, and at least 800 plus to date. What we are doing, so currently, obviously we're encouraging the public to report these violations to 301 through the 301 app or call, or even a call into the customer service line of our solid waste management team. We're responding and abating these illegal dumps, as Senior Director Q. Andrews said earlier. Code compliance will generally respond within about 3 days to any notification of an illegal dump. And then once it is handed over, about 7 days for the actual dump to be collected and disposed of through solid waste. We're continuing to service dumping hotspots, as mentioned earlier, installing no dumping signage, and always continuing our education and outreach. So where do we want to go next? These are concepts, and obviously, as Chief Pravat mentioned earlier, they would require us to come back before council for any action or further discussion. But some of these ideas are to require businesses to have a solid waste management plan. Again, the idea of being a good member of the community, have a plan for managing your solid waste. Raise penalties and fines. Require contractors to provide proof of lawful disposal. Impose business license sanctions for illegal dumping if caught dumping. And then to adopt the state scrap tire management as a local ordinance. And this is a requirement for a haul permit and a manifest if hauling tires. And lastly, we want to end with, again, how do you report illegal dumping? We ask that everybody please call 311 or use the app and report it so that we can address and manage it accordingly. Yes.
Thank you. And before we get into the discussion, if I could, if you can drive the PowerPoint back to the first. I just want to point out some data points for council, just to be clear. If we can go back to slide 6. So slide 6, this is showing where our code enforcement cases regarding illegal dumping are. So this is illegal dumping on private property. And as you can see, the first district really has the most code cases in private property. You'll also see, and this is going to be clear in the data too, you're going to see the numbers really jump from 2024 to 2025 and 2026. A lot of that is because we started this task force and we started to really pay attention to where this illegal dumping was happening. That's not to say that there isn't more today than there was in 2024, but that we're taking a really concerted operational effort to try to understand what's happening with illegal dumping and get our arms around it. So if you can move to slide 7, you'll see that trend continue. This is where we're abating illegal dumping in the right-of-way. And you can see that last year was our highest year by far in the number of illegal dumping sites we were abating in the right-of-way. So this is team sanitation, team solid waste, getting out there and using those knuckle boom trucks and the resources and the extra crews to help us increase our capacity for illegal dumping, though it's really hard to stay in front of. Now, if you can move to slide 10, you'll see again that for our hotspot locations, and this is hotspots that are generated all across. There's no wrong door for a hotspot. We get a lot from 311 requests. We get a lot from city council members that come to Daphne and Lita and myself, and we work these into our hotspot locations. These are also identified by team sanitation, solid waste, team park and tree, team code compliance, and you'll see that the number of hotspot locations have also increased. I want to make note here that we do not pull a hotspot off the list. Even if we've felt like we've got it addressed and we keep going back, we know that's a place where people have illegal dumps before. There's a reason why people illegal dump before, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to get back there to stay ahead of it. Now I want to spend a little time on slide 12, which is our cost, and how that correlates with those numbers as well. So this chart has everything from 2024 all the way up to 2026 year to date, based on our lines of service. So you'll see that, you'll see if you kind of go to 5 rows down, solid waste in 2025, you'll see the number of dump sites cleaned was over 1,200. That goes back to the bar chart we saw before, and you see a real cost driver across the row at $120,000 to abate those sites. It was about $10,000 or $1,000 a cleanup on those sites. Go to the row below. This is Park and Tree. This is illegal dumping on city property. You'll see that the cost to clean those are much more expensive per site, usually because it's a much bigger dumping situation. There are 14 that were cleaned last year at a cost of $180,000. So I want you to see the drive and focus for trying to address these sites, but how that's impacting the cost as well. So those were some data points that I wanted to be able to make sure that we had some discussion around, and some of the data points that jump out to me as we look through these issues. So for me, getting a handle on illegal dumping on city-owned property is going to be our biggest cost driver down, and continuing to invest in being able to address our right-of-way illegal dumping, which has a much lower cost to unit ratio, is going to be really, really important for improving quality of life. So those are the things that jump out for me from a data perspective. So if we can move, Gordon, to the slide that you ended on, which is, or at least the slides of where we want to go to next. And I think we can toggle between, in the discussion, I hope, this slide and the challenges slide, which are really kind of driving operationally and legislatively where we think we might want to talk about what possible solutions we have to decrease the behavior we're seeing in illegal dumping, either decrease the access to sites that lend themselves to illegal dumping, increasing our technology and strategies for how we enforce and identify violators and bring them to justice. And then I think some low-hanging fruit is how we increase the deterrence for illegal dumping. One, by requiring contractors, home builders, and other businesses to have solid waste plans and bring those receipts to us before we issue a business license or certificate of occupancy, as well as raising fines for the violators we are able to identify and bring through the court system. So that, just wanted to kind of, before we get into discussion, Mayor, highlight what came up to me in looking at these issues over the last several years.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, team. I'll start, and then Alderman Pertee will go around. So it appears to me, well, a couple of things. I think raising penalties and fees, I think you have to catch people in doing it. You're right, I think it's a behavior change. But my question is the thought that the behavior exists because there's nowhere viable to dump? For example, you walk around, you have a piece of trash in your hand, you look, and then it goes on the ground. That if maybe in some of those places, and again, you know, a lot of industrial places that are out of sight, if we just had a thing there, whatever that's called, but what's that called? The dumpster. I mean, do we help ourselves in helping to be able to address those issues? Because obviously people illegally dump because it's easier to illegally dump than it is to legally dump. And so how do you create it where we're vectoring the behavior towards legal dumping if we're having such problems catching the illegal dumping? That make sense?
It does make sense, and I think there's a lot of research on that. And I'll just, like, a week ago, I was at a stoplight, and I saw a man sitting on a park bench, or sitting on a cat bench with a trash can right next to it, and threw his fast food bag on the ground. And there's a lot of research that suggests that the more receptacles you have does not actually drive
But
down.
you're a city marshal. Did you get out and cite him at that point for being able to do that? Or did you make him pick it up?
I made a call, yes, sir.
Because I mean, see,
Yelled out
see,
the window.
but that's what I'm saying. So the fact is that it was still dumped. I mean, it was still put there. The behavior has to be addressed. See, if I mean, people say, well, you know,
But that's what
I know outside my neighborhood, folks out there, what's they call the clean team or whatever, they're out there and they pick up this trash.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to address the behavior
Well,
when it
but
happens.
that's what my point is.
Right.
So.
But you could have cited him right then and there for that.
I could, I don't carry a site book with me, but, but well noted, Mayor, thank you. The issue is we could put convenience centers all over the city, and we do have convenience centers where you can dump. And the problem would still persist. So some of it is about access, some of it is about education. Other parts about it is about changing behavior, and you're right, you have to catch those who are doing it. And for illegal dumping, one of the big things that we're asking, are going to be looking for and asking council to consider is allowing us to adopt the state scrap tire management requirements under a local ordinance, perhaps. That would allow SPD and others to pull over folks that are hauling tires and request the paper on where they're bringing those tires. So that's something that we're looking at doing. These are all on the imposing business license sanction for illegal dumping, requiring contractors to provide proof of lawful disposal before a certificate of occupancy. So we think these are the behavior change mechanisms that are going to get at this kind of large scale illegal dumping that we see, because we tend to believe that these are repeat offenders, and that, you know, the more, you know, and there's going to be a site that everybody knows, hey, there's a site down the road. If I throw out my bag of trash there, eventually it gets picked up by the city. So it is in effect an accessible way to throw away your trash. And so that's, you know, we could put a convenience station there, but I don't think people want a dumpster at that site either. So we're going to have to think from a policy lens and a legislative lens, how can we make sure that we're for the 10% or 5% of bad actors out there, we're going to have to make 100% of people show their receipts on this. And I think that's a big part of the work that we're going to have to do.
When was the last time we cited someone for illegal dumping? Last time we caught somebody in the act, so to speak.
So Director Knight had some information on that. We're going to share. It's very, very difficult to identify illegal dumping, but she can talk through about what that process is and what we've been able to do over the last couple of years.
Excuse me, Mr.
Often
City
we
Manager.
arrive,
Excuse me, Mr. City Manager, can we ask questions now, or are we
Well,
waiting?
we're questions, but yeah, let her go ahead and finish.
often we arrive after the dumping has occurred, and through that investigation process that we talked about earlier, we find something leading us back to the individual male. We cite them. This year, we probably had about 3 cases where we were able to identify an individual. I will tell you, it's some challenges with getting into court. What we're finding is the individual, we can't prove that it was them who did the dumping. They may have had a move out, and then it gets very convoluted in the sense of my manager, the property manager, threw it out. I hired someone to haul it away for me. So it's not a solid case. So citing is one aspect of identifying, putting a notice in their hand. Actually getting it into court and for them being fined, that's a whole nother challenge for us that we need to work on.
Okay.
Can
All-
I interject something? We have convenience centers that are available to the public for disposal of solid waste generated at their own residences. So if you're moving out of an apartment, you've got a sofa, you can haul it to the landfill. okay? A lot of the dumping we see is commercial level, and the material is dumped illegally in order to save cost. Solid waste collection and disposal is a cost of doing business, just like power or fuel or personnel. And we need to focus on that as well. On bulk trash, we pick up bulk trash at our residences weekly. The landfills are available in the convenience centers. We do provide commercial roll-off and commercial refuse collection for businesses, including apartment complexes. If they want a roll-off container there, they could have that. That's all. Thank you.
Mayor, first of all, I want to thank my colleague Linda Wilder-Bryan. She led the charge on the Rock the Block initiative some years ago, and I know most districts, if not all, have adopted that. The 6th district has. We do it quarterly, and it seems to help. We noticed that our community members that live on the south side, they will use it, but we also notice that there are a lot of contractors that come in and they'll attempt to dump in those areas. So we know there's a challenge there, and we see that. A couple questions I had. In the cost of the cleanup, did that include, like when you're dealing with roofless folks where their encampments have to be relocated, is that part of the cost in there as well too, or is that not?
So we've got a specific line, if we go back to slide 12, Cynthia, you'll see one of the service lines for park and tree and illegal dumping is titled encampments, and you'll see the cost
I see,
there
okay.
per year.
So when folks set up camp at a private residence, right, and it has to be cleaned up, is that solely on the private landowner, even though they may not have allowed folks to camp there?
Yes, that's solely on them, but we work with them.
Okay.
For example, we tell them if they can get it to the right-of-way, sanitation, solid waste will come and remove it for them. So it's a joint effort to get it clean. Even if we had to extend the time, normally we give them 15 days to remove it, but if they need longer and they're trying to work out a solution, we will work with them.
Last question I have. So I've noticed, usually on the south side, Abercorn, Middle Ground, White Bluff roads, throughout the 4th, 5th, and 6th districts, usually we get, I'll send a 311 request in, we got littering on the medians, and they'll come out and clean it up, and all of a sudden it's right back out there again. There's more littering of that nature. So the folks that we contract with to do the right-of-ways out there, is that in their contract that they should be picking that stuff up as well?
Gordon can address that.
Yes, so part of the contract, whether it's our right-of-way maintenance contractor or our median maintenance contractor, involves collecting of litter at time of service. So they only collect prior to mowing. And that's on a 2-week in the medians and then 3 weeks on the rights of way.
Okay. I don't have the answer for it, but I mean, I know we're seeing all throughout the city the issues with trash on the side of the roads and the medians. I mean, if that's a thing where we need to budget more folks to help get out and clean it up or enforce it. I don't know the answer to it, but maybe we can look at that, whatever y'all suggest. But I just know that it seems more and more that I'm seeing a lot of that. I watched yesterday 2 kids walking home from school, threw their stuff down right on the side of White Bluff Road, and it's like, what's going on? Trash cans are not that far down the road, but I watch people throw stuff out of cars going down the road, and it's behavioral changes that I think we need to really hone in on and focus in on. That's it.
All right, Alderman Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, City Manager, and all teams here, a part of this task force, for your services. I also would like to thank Alderwoman Linda Wilder for the concept of Rock the Block, and it is the banner that she started, and over in the 5th we just have a little subtitle. We call it the Fabulous 5th District Cleanup, but it still comes under that big banner of Rock the Block. Thank you so much, colleague. I want to talk about what the city manager pointed out in reference to the data that's been presented here today. And when we look at, and as I look at and been analyzing the work and also with the analytics that's behind these numbers, with the 5th district, and I'm just telling you, slide number 6, what happened in the years, previous years, and what has been a concentrated effort of mine is that I have been, over the years but I focused in on even more, and also I've got to say this too, with the help of Alderwoman Alicia Blakely, because we sort of balance this thing when it comes to this particular work in the 5th district. She really, we corn in and get together, and the balance of working the entire district. She handles that south side and the middle part of the 5th, and I take care of all of it. So what we have been doing is that with a concentrated effort, and that's why you see the numbers, is paying attention to the folks that's calling us. 311, as I will shout out and say, 311 works. It works. 311 works. Your baby child in the years previous, yes, ma'am. And it works. It took a lot of work to get where it is now, but it did get started. But it works. I just have to say it. So with having our citizens, and it is necessary to continue to voice to our voices to our constituents and saying, we need you. We need you to call us. You don't have to call anybody else. If you don't want to call 311, call us, because we need you. It is their eyes that see what goes on. We don't see everything. So what's been happening? We've been getting the calls in, and we've been calling 311. I tell you, I'm regular speed dial on 311. And our numbers are showing what we have been doing. And it is not by happenstance. It is by a concentrated effort that's going on in the 5th district. So I just wanted to let you all know, you see the numbers high, it is because we're focusing, and you also see it was high in 25, and you see, and whoever came up with bringing this task force together, it is working. It is working. The other thing I want to mention is hotspots. I'm just big on it. I am super big. Oh, I see Mrs. Knight, I tell you. And Mr. Q, I'll be with them through the city manager's office for sure. Hotspots, the psychological behavior behind it is that we've got to clean it up, because if we don't get it cleaned up, folks are walking around and thinking and riding around, oh, this is a good place for me to dump in the future. So we have been making a concentrated effort too, even though we still need your public to call in and see stuff. And I like what you're saying, City Manager, about the adopting of the state ordinance and bringing it here and making sure that we are, and getting to the point where enforcement, I wrote that down, enforcement on what you're talking about, and having our officers or whoever you designate to stop these commercial vehicles, or even private owned vehicles with stacks of tires in it, to find out where you're going with this. Where did it come from? It's an important thing. I like that. So we need to move forward with that. And on the challenge slide, you had a bullet point here that says low awareness or motivation to report illegal dumping. We need everybody to be on board in order for us to keep Savannah beautiful. Arise the behavior let's all call in and get on board. Thank you, City Council, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership and how we continue to fund the effort in making sure that whatever our three departments need to keep our city beautiful, we do the work in making sure that we vote and get those things done. Last thing, thank you so much, keeping Savannah beautiful. All of you who do this work with Savannah beautiful, and having our district and community, neighborhood associations and communities come together, along with the Divine Nine, along with all the organizations that come out when we have these efforts with Keep Savannah Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So I just applaud that, and we just need to continue doing that work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Two
you.
points to those comments. One is we consistently see in 311 that illegal dumping is usually in the top 5 in terms of most calls every week. That illegal dumping is usually around 3, 4, 5 there. So we're seeing our community use 311 and talk about that issue. I also just want to make you aware that in my Tuesday night memo, because I thought it was such a good thing, Carlos Bates sent me a few weeks ago a summary of the Keep Savannah Beautiful cleanup effort that had the service organizations and fraternities and sororities in it. I included that update in your Tuesday night memo so you could see that this effort has got to be bigger than our services here. It's really going to be a community effort that changed that culture. So I just want to point those things out. Read that at your leisure.
Excellent.
Alderman Palumbo, then Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you guys so much for the presentation and your approach, because it is comprehensive and it is the yes and we're going to keep Savannah beautiful, and we're going to motivate the neighborhood associations in the community and involve code and truly working together as a team. In a great presentation that you've articulated the cost, that it hurts all of us across the community, because beauty is our brand, it's our identity, and we live in a very special place that we want to fight for. And I have a thought, you know, especially when it comes to the illegal dumping, and that becomes a cost of doing business for some unscrupulous owners and crews, and that's what's really tough. That's where a lot of the cost comes from. The good operators are getting rewarded with paying a fee by doing the right thing. Are there any incentive programs out there, it's just a thought, that encourages proper disposal? A spot award, a random spot award, a punch card. If you do it right 10 times, all right, the team's going out for pizzas and Pepsis at Papa John's. I don't know. I'm just trying to be creative here because clearly, I mean, understanding the psychology of the enforcement is really tough. Finding out, is the decision being made by the crew, team leader, business owner, but somebody's making that decision. So it might be hit him in the heart with the crew. All right, we do it the right way, you know, a creative thought to encourage good behavior, and it's going to pay us huge dividends if we don't have to clean up more illegal dumping.
Great idea, sir. So when we put together these ordinance proposals, we'll think about those incentive strategies and keep having a discussion about it. I think that's the best way to change behavior, is incentivize the better behavior. Yeah.
Thank you, team.
Thank you. Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Definitely a shout out to all of the different teams and Q and also Ms. Knight. The different teams, you guys go out, you always answer the phone. But I want to make sure that we highlight the people who are being targeted for the illegal dumping. A lot of our seniors who live alone, who don't go in their backyards a lot. Like we have one on 36th Street and 1100 block. Between Waters and Live Oak, there's a lot of seniors that live in that alley, around that alley, and they're having a lot of people coming through there, and they just dump. So I want us to be able to at least go and talk to some of those seniors and just work through it with them, because some of them are getting letters from the city that says you got to get this cleaned up, and they can't do it on their own. But I think the team has actually done a wonderful job by working with the community and giving them whatever they need. A lot of them who are doing a lot of cleanup, they receive bags and those litter pickup things. They get a lot of that stuff from our community, from our employees. So shout out to them for that. I just want to be able to highlight the evictions, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but a lot of these landlords, especially during the time when the SCAD kids start to leave, they do the evictions or they move out and they put everything in the cities right away. And I don't think it should ever be on the person if they are evicted. They should not go on their water bill and they shouldn't be charged for it. It should be on the person who owned the property, who should be charged, or who should be brought before some judicial body, because sometimes people go through hardship and they have to be evicted or they have to go through something, but I don't think that it should be on their water bill when it's time for them to transition to a brand new property or go to a new house or to get back on their feet. The third thing is we at Chatham Area Transit, we have a new initiative going, and we are investing monies that we do have that we've budgeted to address a lot of the bus stops who have receptacles, and we're doing our part to hire individuals that go by and check every single trash receptacle at those bus stops, and we're doing new stops and also new housing for the bus stops also. With that being said, this weekend, the Thomas Square cleanup is this weekend. So if anybody want to come out, if you do live in that area, just come on out to the Thomas Square cleanup and see how the community is working together.
Thank you. Alderman Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, team, for all that you're doing to keep Savannah beautiful. I love it. Thank you. A special shout out to Ms. Knight, because I had an instance, it's been a while back now, where a private property owner had some actually it wasn't illegal dumping. It was encampments out on the south side of the city. And you all worked with her. She lived in the county, so she owned the property, but residence was away from it, so she wasn't aware really of what was going on the property. But she complimented city staff while you worked with her and helping her get through that process. 311 I love, and I should love, because 311 was my baby when I was an employee, not as a city council member. But my department started 311 several years ago, so when I'm in neighborhood association meetings and I hear folks praising 311, it's like, that's one instance of maybe the works I've done speak for me, Jean. So I love it, and I love what has continued over the years, Collis and all of you back on the back wall with your Keep Savannah Beautiful. I think one of my colleagues mentioned the engagement or the involvement of civic organizations and sororities and fraternities. That started years and years ago, but that's something that has continued, and I think it's a good thing to engage the public. I love Colombo's idea too about positive incentives or offering some incentive for people doing the right thing. It blows my mind when people drop trash on the ground when there's a receptacle. I don't understand that behavior. Right there, maybe 2 or 3 feet away. But I haven't done the research, so I don't know why we do the things that we do. But all in all, I am also interested in the, I circled this adopting state ordinances that we may want to localize, so that's a great thing too. But to the team, I say you're doing a great job. Team Savannah, we appreciate what you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am. Alderwoman Lanier.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Jones.
So staff, thank you all for your presentation and for your work. I don't want us to get this issue too confused and convoluted, because we're talking about a lot of different phases of the issue of sanitation, trash, illegal dumping. And if we're going to impact a change here, and could you go back to slide 6, please? If we're going to impact a change, we're going to have to understand this thing and break it down and stop confusing people's dry trash with the illegal dumping issue. We're probably talking about several issues here. We just came in with a lot right here. And what you all are doing, staff, is great. We've noticed in the community as of late, you're being proactive, getting some piles up before it comes to me. And thank you for that. And you're doing what you're supposed to do. But that's not where the problem lies. You all are dealing with the repercussions of the problem that people feel like it's easy to dump in Savannah. It's okay to dump in Savannah, not necessarily Savannah, but in the first district. And so this is just indicative of the way the first district is treated overall of being the dumping ground of the city. And it's just not like we have dirty streets. It's an environmental issue, environmental injustice issue. It's a public health issue, and based on these numbers, it's a public health crisis in the first district. So we have to send a message, and Mr. Privet is absolutely right, that money that we're spending doing this is the money that's being passed on to the city by these business people who are not paying their cost of doing business. And they should assume that amount, and we're assuming it because anything allowed persists. Anything allowed persists. And I wanted to sit there for a minute because it was even suggested here that the people in the first district aren't dialing 311 or doing something to warrant the numbers going down, and that's the most ridiculous thing. And so based on what I'm seeing right here, this is why for the last 6 years, this has been an issue that I have brought to management continuously, because obviously it's impacting certain people much more than it's impacting others, although it's impacting our entire beautiful city. We need to send a message. People think about dumping. You all travel. You see some of these cities are so clean, you wonder how they did it. How do they do it? Because it's a standard. And we need to create a standard here in Savannah that if you think about dumping here, we will use every mechanism that we have. We will use every piece of innovation and whatever we have, and we will catch you and we will exert the law to make you pay for that cleanup. And then we need to highlight that person and show them out in the public, these are the people who were caught dumping. These are the people who were charged $5,000 fine. So people won't think about that. We have to be very hard-lined. And of course, this is me talking from my point of view from that first district. We have to create a hard line about and strengthen this ordinance so people will know that these neighborhoods are not landfills, that they cannot continue to dump and impact the quality of life of already marginalized people. And the numbers show that the environmental justice issue, it impacts residents and marginalized areas more so than more affluent areas. The research show and tell that. So we're gonna have to do something here that we haven't done before to send a message. We need to strengthen the ordinance, and once we start catching the perpetrators, then we need to let everybody know, hang them out. We need to let everybody know that this person was caught, dirtying our beautiful city. We got to take a hard line. And the people in the first district, the people of our beautiful city all over, we are expecting some changes in this issue. We have gotten finally to the point where we're having a workshop. And Lord knows that took a lot for us to get to this point, even with what you're seeing behind you. And so that's indicative of the treatment that marginalized and the definition of marginalized, low wealth, underserved neighborhoods. And this is why. So we got to do something here today. We got to change the ordinance. We need to send a message, which you are recommending that we do, increasing, raise fines, facilitate impoundment, increase surveillance, have them produce their sanitation plan or whatever. All of those things. Let's not choose. Let's roll it all out. If we are serious about impacting this problem and changing it, eliminating it, let's roll it all out for everything that everyone does after it's dumped and after the fact, and you all appreciate it, and we notice the change that you all have been providing in the last several weeks since I've been a little bit more vocal about this on social media. And we've noticed the change, so thank y'all for that.
Alderman Blakely.
Thank
Jay, you want to respond?
No, I think that's absolutely right. Those are the places we want to go next. We should be comprehensive.
Alderman Blakely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all so much for your presentation. I know your job is very hard, and I applaud you all for the work that you're doing. But my issue is this, and I have been saying this for the last 6 years. If it ain't broke, why are we trying to fix it? We can go back to, I would say about 15 years ago. Savannah was a very beautiful city. When I say beautiful, you could ride down the street, you wouldn't find trash, you wouldn't find debris, you would find nothing. It was just beautiful. People actually talked about how pretty our city was. And something happened. I believe it was an individual by the name of Rob Hernandez that came in and changed the whole trajectory of what our city had been doing for decades to keep it so beautiful. So my question is, how can we go back to that? You know, I see that you all have spent $500,000 plus, but sometimes you have to spend more to get more.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you all look into, Mr. City Manager and your staff, us going back to the way it used to be. It hurts my heart to see roadkill in our streets. A deer on Middle Ground Road had been there for about a week, from what I was told. And then about 2 days prior to me calling you all. And I'm like, what happened? We used to have a crew that went around the city, made sure the medians were clean, the streets were clean, all of that. How can we get back to that? It might cost us a little bit more, but we wouldn't have to be dealing with these type issues. Also, when you talk about the individual sitting next to a receptacle and did not put the trash in there, just dropped it on the ground. That's a reflection on how that person was raised or being raised or whatever. So if we connect with our school system, sometimes the children could help the parents, the brothers and the sisters and what have you, and tell them, I learned today that you're not supposed to put trash on the street, you put it in the trash can. If we can get back to that, because we used to have all of these public service announcements and what have you, and then all of a sudden they just left. So let's try to talk to Board of Education and see if they can possibly put something in their coffers to educate the children, so then the children educate the parents, the brothers and the sisters. Okay? But thank y'all so very, very much. Mr. Pravat, where did Jean go? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay? Now I do have a question about furniture and what have you. When a person is moving, can they put the sofa, whatever, on the side of in the right of way, and then call and, you know, we all pick it up? How does that work?
You can place bulk items at your regular. Bulk items should be placed at the regular point of collection, where you roll your cart out, put it right next to that, and it'll be picked up as a matter of routine. If it's a house full of furniture, that's a different story. We can get that, but that becomes what is called a special collection. And we will charge you, Mr. Andrews, the rate. It's every 15 minutes how long it takes us. We can move a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. It's about $25 every 15 minutes. So that's really a low cost. 50? All right, pardon me, I stand corrected.
Now let me ask you this as well. You know, I've been talking to you all constantly about trash in the median in the area where I live. Is it possible that once they collect trash on Mondays or anywhere, if they see this stuff there, can our garbage collectors pick this stuff up? Is there something that you all could put in to tell them to pick it up? Because it's right there, they ride by it and they just leave it. So is something in the books for something like that?
It might be possible, but frankly, the tasking on those collection crews, they're picking up probably 13 to 15,000 houses per collection day. And they start at 7, they get off at 5, so there's not a lot of time there for that. We do have, through our contractors, they're supposed to do a litter cleanup before they service the lane. And then we also have in litter abatement, we have teams that go out and cover the streets that way. So it should be picked up on a regular schedule. And if there's any, there's some spots that are just difficult. There's one particular on the south side there at the end of the Truman. It's a chronic spot. That's actually in the county, but we go by, pick it up, and our sanitation is now making a stop there every week just to make sure we can get that particular one up. But
In subdivisions.
I understand.
You
And
know.
we are looking, one of our projects under GPS this year, our priority project is our median maintenance, to make sure we're getting all the medians are kept up appropriately, and that we're looking at where the trash is.
Okay. Again, thank you all so very much.
So, Alderwoman, in terms of your comments about what the city is outsourcing versus what it's doing internally, so I just want to connect some dots here. We've talked about this before. It's an issue you've brought up. Really all three departments, code compliance, park and tree, and sanitation, have been the subject of what we've called back to basics investments over the last 5 years of the budget, where we've increased internal staff, increased internal resources to be able to do more and add more capacity in-house. That was lost over time or contracted out. So we are trying to grow those services in-house so that we have the people power and the muscle power to be able to go out and take care of priorities as they come. We still need contracts and contractors to help and supplement that work, and so we do have contractors that mow and contractors that help pick up litter, but we are trying to build the internal staff capacity, the internal tool capacity, and the resources in terms of our fleet to be able to get out there and address those. So our numbers have increased over the last 5 years in terms of the staffing and the capabilities of all three of those departments.
I hear you, but looking around the city, I don't see it. So we got to do that. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. I have to go there because, again, this is human behavior. There is not a day, very few days, that I don't see somewhere in this city, and I'm in every area of the city, a City of Savannah truck, a City of Savannah employee picking up trash. And I think that is important to be said. The trash doesn't get there by itself. And I just feel like I think we have to address the behavior side. To Alderwoman Lanier's point, I'm in favor of severe penalties and public examples. The first district, which I'm very familiar with, obviously, is a little different than most because of Avon's proximity. Secondly, it is very close to industry and interstates and all of these other dark places that people like to dump. But I want to make sure, not even for council, but for those that are watching, because I think we do invest, and I think our team takes a lot of pride in that work, in picking trash up. But it seems like, and I guess it would be frustrating, that the more you pick up, the more it seems to be dumped. And I don't think it's a lack of effort on our part. but it is this laissez-faire attitude that people have that is just okay. Hence why our summer programs are so important, because young people will change their behavior if they got to pick the trash up. And so I just want to make sure that it's not, because we have team members in here that represent team members. I appreciate what they do, but I also know that it's extremely slippery slope, because they're out there picking up trash, and then you come back and there's trash out there again. And it's like, well, God dang, I just picked up trash over here. And so I would appreciate if there was some way, and I know we have people smart enough to do it, to create a really high-profile thing. We put people's faces all over the place and their businesses all over the place, and I think that is how you stop people from being able to do it. Because the drop and pickup is an endless cycle that will never change unless we interrupt that cycle. And I think that's what we have to be able to do. But I just wanted to make sure I lifted the fact that I know we have people who are dedicated daily to, that's all they do is pick up other people's trash.
That's right.
Off of our right-of-ways and byways, and they do it with great pride. There's a young lady, what do they call them, the queens?
Yep.
What do they call them? Call us what they call them.
The
litter queens.
The litter queens.
The
Thank you
litter
very
queens.
much.
I mean, they be out there, they like,
Yes.
and I see them, and, you know, but I just want to make sure that, you know, where our money is doing what it's supposed to do, we have to change the behavior. And so I just wanted to lift that. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Mr. City Manager, I wanted to thank the presentation, but I have just a couple of questions that, you know, I'm going to be really succinct about it. We always talk about the shortage of staff in our law enforcement agency. I want to know how many people to complete your roster that you need in your department.
So you're asking the vacancy rate?
The vacancy rate.
Code compliance?
Code compliance, and she may not be able to give us that answer today.
Yes, it's, currently it's at 3%.
No. And so that 3% would equate to how many people?
We're about three total,
Okay, 3.
but,
Okay, just hold that thought right there. And what about in sanitation?
Q, you know your vacancy rate? right?
I do not know my vacancy rate at this time, but I can get that information to you.
And so the point I'm trying to make is, we keep operating in this wheel, right? And so that wheel negates us from doing what we're supposed to do. And so this new city ordinance is going to be enforced while an already short staff. We keep creating city ordinance, and then we don't have the manpower to do what they actually need to be done. And so we need to fix that before we create any city ordinance that we vote on. We need to make sure that they're showed up so that they can actually do the job, in addition to all the other things that, in code enforcement, Cynthia is a beast. She needs some help, okay? And we want to also give kudos to Carlos Bates, because that Rock the Block was born out of a necessity to assist them during the pandemic. And so I want to ask that here, Q, the best people to get information that we need to be productive and move forward is these mid-level people that we're not utilizing their brain thought. We pay them, and then we go and talk to them. That was not just a Linda Wilder Bryan thing. That was a Carlos Bates thing, and she continues to show herself up. We got people in these offices that are doing amazing jobs and not getting the support that city council has not given them fully, because we're too busy fussing with each other. But there are some things that need to be done that we need. She needs some help. We talk about sanitation. He just had an awesome idea. We talk about it all the time. When we get everybody involved, everybody is involved during Thanksgiving. We have fun. Who has the most canned goods? Why can't we do the same thing? You already have, why can't each department go to that site and they put on that little bulk weight stuff? Because you have the capability to do that. Carlos has been talking about that, Q's been talking about that. We gotta utilize the things and be creative so we can have shortcuts.
Yeah.
The
So
other thing is,
You're absolutely right about the great staff that we have. We do a City of Savannah cleanup day too. It keeps Savannah beautiful to us, so the whole staff goes out, and cleans up one day. It's a really important effort, but I will note that the time for us to talk about where we're adding investments into staffing, that's coming up as for the FY '27 budget.
okay, so I'm not finished. And so, when we have these code violations, and I'm hoping that this new election, when, in the adding of our recorder's court, I've been to recorder's court, and it's a joke. We get most of those cases that we work and we complain about, they get passed or they're dropped and people don't show up. We got to get a better reduction rate on that. And the best way that we talked about it, the alderman from the 1st District said the same thing. Behavior changes should come with fundamental and financial penalties. It's a joke. It is. What we haven't had is what we need. Consequences. We need to be more sterner. We need to, whoever is our prosecutor, I've been to these court cases and they're getting passed, they're getting dropped, people don't show up. So the consequences and the deterrent should meet the crime. And then you'll see some cleaning in Savannah. You got people, I'm gonna keep reiterating that. We need the recorder's court to work for us. We're responsible for recorder's court and it's not working for us. We got cases and probate key and all of that stuff that have been sitting there getting passed. We got to do a better job, and you have to hold your people more accountable. Now, this is
And for recorder's court, the judges.
the cases. Some of our cases, are they not? What court are they in?
Reporter's court.
Yes, sir, and that's what I'm
And so
talking
what
about.
is what's
The problem is,
accountability?
when she goes in there, and we're telling these illegal dumpsters and stuff like those cases, they're either getting dropped or they're getting slapped on the wrist. He said it, the mayor said it, the 1st District, we're all saying that. We want sterner fines, and we don't want those people to sit in court where they go unnoticed, especially in the 3rd District, right? And the other thing that I'd like to have that nobody's put in force, these slum landlords. There are a lot of these dumping, they're doing illegal dumpster too, but that's another thing.
To make sure that we're all clear on recorder's court, the city manages the administration of the court, we do not manage the judges.
Okay,
So
no,
the
that's
ju-
not what I said. Don't try to confuse. I said with the new elections and how we just, I'm hoping that we can move forward, and then the consequences are swift and people are not sitting there. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I know we manage it, right? The other thing is she needs some help. If we have to send another attorney in there to help her sure out these things, then let's get another attorney in there. I would be willing to say that. The other thing, these convenience centers, where are they? Because it's about money. Every time we have illegal dumping and stuff, people are not wanting to pay that fee. And so when you say that they don't want them, people don't want them in their site, these dumpsters, put it in a designated area so that people, we win by doing that. You know, we can't keep saying that we're gonna put all these things in places, and the things that we have in place, we're not utilizing, especially the brain power of mid-level people. You didn't let me finish talking about it, but if we could think of something like canned goods, right? Why can't we think about all these departments that come in, and who has the most garbage and litter by departments, then we give them a reward. We do that. The camaraderie, the litter queens were designated queens. And people say, oh, you shouldn't call them queens, but they embrace that because every job that a person has, we have to make them feel like they have value. And y'all are not giving people the value that they need in these jobs. And productivity comes with people being valued. I'm gonna get off of this thing, but we can't keep putting city ordinance in place, and we're not valuing our people who have innovative and cost-preventive ideas that save us some money. We said that we was gonna have a number where people could call in, our staff, because they know what we need. They know what we need. What the problem solutions that we have, they come after the fact. We need to be in front of it. We need to get in front of it. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. But you coming and giving us presentation, y'all need some solutions. And those solutions are creating a deterrent that's not a slap on the wrist and move swiftly through this court system. We make that happen and y'all see a change. If y'all keep saying that the behavior creates change, I know it created for me because I got 3 $100 tickets from going inside the school. I bet you I hadn't got another ticket. So when we start making these people pay I'm a citizen too. I don't want to keep paying taxes. I don't want to keep putting money on a budget that's already stretched. But you stop making people and hold them accountable. That means everybody at this table and a city manager who's a marshal who doesn't say, pick that trash up. And I'm grateful to be here as a public service. We all have to do better. Mr. City Manager, thank your staff, but they need help, and they're not getting all the help, especially in code enforcement. If we're talking about trash, she needs some help. Ms. Cravette, what you gonna do about that, sir?
Let me, before we go there, I think Alderman Bell has something. I'll remind all of you. You all can have whatever you're willing to pay for. Each year, city manager brings to us a budget, and we give him budget priorities, and he has to be able to deliver a budget that's balanced, unlike the state, unlike the federal government, but based on those priorities. And oftentimes, the first thing we say is we don't want any types of increases, but we want money for this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So this is a priority. The budget season has kicked off already internally. Then make sure, that's for everybody, that he is aware of your desires, keeping in mind that for where that occurs, something else can occur. So just wanted to throw that public safety and public service announcement out for budget time. Alderman Bell.
Just a quick question, Dean, and you may not be able to answer this, but if a contractor is renovating a property and you suddenly see, like, I don't know whether you would call it illegal dumping, but we suddenly see the lane lined with maybe a used sink or a toilet fixtures or that sort of thing, can we just assume that that's coming? That's happening right now on Bolton Lane.
It's not sufficient to cite somebody to report. You actually have to observe them doing that. We've talked in the past about flock cameras, and technology's gotten better. We're going to be revisiting that some, but we've had photos, and those are not sufficient in recorder score. We have to have more than that. It can tell us when something is happening or where something is happening, so it's good for intelligence, but it's not sufficient for evidence. And if I could go back to Alderwoman Wilder Bryan's question, our convenience centers, one is at the city landfill on Dean Forest Road, that's 1327 Dean Forest Road. And there's one on the south side, it's on, and the address escapes me, it's off Old Shorty Cooper Road, which is south of Bacon Park and before you get to the tennis courts, tennis complex.
The landfill that's off of Skidaway,
That's the one.
is it possible for that to be a convenience center? Because that is
It is a
inside the city.
convenience center.
That's what
Okay.
he's talking about.
But
Okay,
the
so
rule
it's
is, it is for material coming from your domicile, that is your legal residence. for this
That would be
work.
a couch?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it has to come from your house.
Yeah.
Now, if you own multiple properties and you clean those out, and that's different, that's a different case. So we don't take from the commercial.
And how would you
Apartments.
determine that?
You're asked for your identification when you go through that site.
No, but I'm saying, if there's a person that has a lot of houses and they bring in couches, how do you know they're not going to your other convenience centers doing the same thing? How do you
Either one,
determine
no,
that?
at both convenience centers, you have to check in, and you have to certify that this is coming from, and maybe that's not the right word, but tell us that it's coming from your residence, and we might ask you proof of residence. Water bill, something like that says this is where you live.
Okay, so let me ask you again, so you understand me. Are you cross-referencing this information, your staff saying that you have this person going to these different things for free, right? How do you know that these people aren't using the system. I'm just
I
saying
could
this
answer- I
because,
could answer. We're trying to prove residency. Now, we don't want our convenience centers to turn into commercial dump sites.
And that is
which
my
why
point.
we have that bar. We also don't want people with 5 couches to be turned away and then put those couches in an illegal dump site. So there's a balance what we try to bring with saying this is to the mayor's point earlier, that we've got accessible places to be able to dump trash, that people feel like it's easy to go to, like our convenience centers. And then these ordinance changes that we want to bring to council is there to target commercial dumping. So if somebody has to get a permit because they're redeveloping a home, they're flipping a house, they're building a new house, they're renovating a home, if they've got a permit, then they need to prove a receipt that they brought those dumping items to a proper landfill and dump site, and that we have that receipt. That's been a suggestion that Alderwoman Lanier has brought to us. We've done the research. We'd like to bring that to council for an ordinance change. The other things that we're asking for is for us to be able to proactively stop people hauling tires so that we can understand where they're bringing those tires to, because a large part of illegal dumping is tires as well. Gene will tell you and Q will tell you that if it's your tires at home, if you're changing your tires or you need a place to dispose your tires, you can leave those at your collection point, and we will pick those up. So we make it really, really easy for residents in the city to be able to dispose of their trash. What the problem is are commercial enterprises who, as Gene stated at the beginning, trash disposal is a cost of doing business, and they're looking for places to reduce their costs. And one way these bad actors do it is by illegally dumping trash. So where we're trying to get to is we're trying to get them to have to prove that they dumped that. Now, do we think that we see commercial enterprises use our convenience centers inappropriately? I'm sure that does happen, because we do have commercial enterprises whose home address is in the city of Savannah, and maybe they're bringing in building material because they're a home builder somewhere, and they're bringing that to the convenience site, and they say, oh, I'm doing my own home, I just want a convenience. I'm sure that happens. It's very, very difficult for us to cross-check, and I think it would probably be, we're not worth the squeeze on that. Where we want to get our commercial properties is at the permit area and at the certificate of occupancy area. If they don't get a certificate of occupancy, or they don't get a permit unless they're showing the proof of disposal, then that hurts their ability to operate as a commercial enterprise, and that's what we want to do.
I still didn't get my question answered, Mr. City Manager, but I do want to say that we do amazing things in this city, and this is the first time. Why do y'all think that tires are everywhere? Because we don't do a good communication of telling people it's free if they're your tires, and that's why they're all everywhere. We say that all the time. Why wouldn't y'all have on SGTV? You don't have to pay for your tires if it came from off of your car. Nobody says that, so that's why you see them everywhere. We don't do a good communication piece on how this stuff is free. So people don't want to do that because there's an extra cost, not at them, for them, so we need to do that. And then again, there is an easy way. If she's introduced a city ordinance, it's called accountability. If y'all got paperwork and you putting stuff on a computer, you mean to tell me that y'all can't cross-reference if that commercial companies who's discarding information or discarding debris or whatever, y'all can't capture it on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet, says that this person is throwing away stuff at this convenience center and that convenience center and that convenience center. If you can't identify them, how are you going to penalize them? We got to have some kind of system in your system to recognize these people, because they're repeat offenders, and you got the same people working these trash sites. They know who they are. Give them some initiative to do these things. It makes their job easier. I mean, we sit here and we beat each other up about simple things when they're doable by the people who do their jobs. You can't tell me that the people who are at these sites don't recognize these people who come and bring those stuff. Why can't we notate that and find them? That's all we're asking for, to be innovative and creative and cut some of these corners with people who know what to do, the people who actually work in these sites. And then we'll see a change. Thank you so much for your time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I think this question will be for code enforcement. Um, Could you please tell me what is the difference between an overgrown yard and the term wilding?
Wilding. So I don't recognize wilding, but the ordinance states that your grass can't be over 10 inches. Anything over 10 inches, we cite as overgrowth. We do have cite for unkept vegetation, such as the vegetation that you would see under your scrubs that may grow up beside your house, but wilding, no. We don't cite for cultivated flowers. Some people have something that looks like, I guess, sunflowers or something in their yards that they like. Maybe that's wilding. I'm not quite sure on that definition.
So it's flowering.
Yes, flowering.
Flowering beds. And
Right.
That is what's considered wilding.
Wilding,
Not
okay.
just growing, just.
Right, and they can have that cultivated flowers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Next thing, Mr. Mayor, Alderwoman Barbara Bryan, she just was describing what we need to do and creating a system, and she's absolutely right on that. And I'm just sitting here thinking, because we spend so much on technology. We have a nice budget, but just about at every meeting, we're spending money on technology, because that sounds like an app that I could create. I mean, they just, every time you go to the landfill, and I use Sharon Park mostly, a county owned, but it's closer. But you have to show your driver's license every time you go. So a photo of that in an app, you know, that cross-reference that person's use, I mean, it's
easy.
Sound kind of simple.
Yeah. And we can look into that. I think if we're looking to get at illegal dumping, making it harder to use the convenience centers is going to increase illegal dumping. So that's the balance here. So that's the policy kind of trade-off that you're making there. If we want to catch commercial enterprises who are misusing convenience centers, then we'll look into those strategies and come back to that. But again, some of the unintended consequences of that is if you're making convenience centers harder to use, you might see more illegal dumping as a result. So you got to be able to do both. So we'd much rather people bring their trash to a convenience center than us have to pick it up with a knuckle boom truck at an illegal dump site. So those are the trade-offs there. But I do understand the concern, and I do understand that there are likely technology fixes for us to understand who and how often folks are using convenience centers.
Well, I just think, big, intentional, public changes behavior.
What are you saying, the campaign, right?
I mean, something,
Put those pictures out
something
there.
internal, but I mean, I just think we have to do a sting. We have to catch people.
Yes.
I mean, you pick the location, I don't care what it is, but, you have means, if you're looking for somebody, we know how to find them. So then let's create something where we know somebody's gonna do it, and then we drag them all across everything, and we stop doing it. And, if it's businesses, then, maybe we need to look at how they, create business there. And when people know, oh, shoot, I don't wanna get caught up in that, they'll stop doing it. But we have to have a way to interrupt the current way of doing business. But anyway, let's move on, because we wanna, so thank y'all for the presentation.
Yes.
Thank you all for your work.
We educate the parents.
Well, we brought the recommendation, so does city council want us to bring these ordinance changes?
Yes.
Okay.
And y'all don't get scared now when it's time to do it. That's not, I
We
mean.
never spring,
Well, I'm saying,
never.
Bring up city manager.
If they bring it, then y'all get up here, well, so, I mean.
We gotta stick to the plan and we got to follow through. We
Oh, I
have all
agree.
these plans and we don't
I
have to follow
agree.
through. We keep getting introduced to all these things and you got
Manager.
people sitting around here wanting to do the work.
Go forth.
So now we're
Let's get
gonna
it. Let's
stay
go.
on the general subject, and talk through, I believe, our 10-year waste management plan, which is something that our solid waste team puts together every 10 years or so. Ours is due.
I'm sorry, I thought we
We're
was
going to
finished.
talk through what is in a solid waste management plan, what's in our proposed solid waste management plan, and what's the process of getting that solid waste management plan adopted by city council and submitted to the proper authority. So I think we're going to hear from Mr. Q Andrews again, Senior Director Andrews again, on our solid waste management plan.
Good afternoon again. I just want to give a brief overview of our City of Savannah Solid Waste Management Plan, and to understand that we had a plan that expired in 2018, so we had to go through and we did an update of that particular plan. So what is a solid waste management plan? Basically, I have the definition up there, but it's our roadmap and guide to how we manage the solid waste system within the City of Savannah. And it's a plan that is required under the Georgia Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Act, that all local municipalities that have solid waste management facilities, they should have a plan. So what's inside the plan? Here are some of the major components of the plan. You have the waste stream analysis, and that provides analytical on the types of quantities of waste generated within the City of Savannah. You have your collection and transportation, which outlines how waste will be collected and transported from homes and businesses and other locations. And then you have the disposal section, which specifies how waste will be disposed of at permitted solid waste facilities. And the main thing about this is we need to show 10 years of waste disposal capacity, which we do have from 2025 to 2035. You have waste reduction and reuse, which the plan aims to waste generation as its source to promote reuse materials and encourage recycling. You also have the land limitation section, which provides requirements to protect the environment by identifying unsuitable areas for waste handling facilities. And then last, you have your public and outreach component of the plan, which encourages management and participation in waste reduction in our recycling program. So here are the steps, the next steps into getting the plan adopted. By law, we are required to have 2 public hearings. We tentatively are scheduling our first public hearing in June of 2026, and then we'll move to our second public hearing and plan adoption at the first city council meeting in August.
So if I can stop you there, we're going to do this like we do our one-year action plan for HUD from our Department of Human Services. So the first public hearing will not be at a city council meeting. It'll be at a noticed public meeting. And we'll have that first public hearing, and then the second public hearing will be at a city council meeting. And then the plan will be agendized for adoption post that public hearing.
Mr. City Manager,
Yes, ma'am.
is there a plan that he has a draft on, or will the people in the community be adding to what our plan already is?
No, ma'am, we have a plan. It's a fairly technical plan. We want to talk to the public about that plan and hear the feedback. And if we hear feedback that warrants changes, we'll make those changes. But this is a fairly technical document about what our solid waste management plan is for the city for the next 10 years. It's not just our solid waste management department, but all of our solid waste partners. So it includes other people that operate solid waste within our boundaries as well, so it's pretty all-encompassing in terms of how we handle solid waste.
And so, because when we do have these things in meeting, I would want to be in front of that, if it's possible, that we could get a draft to at least know what we're talking about before our actual constituents. That makes it easier for me to know before we present stuff to people, that I at least have some type of knowledge in advance, instead of waiting to get that information when we see it and share it with other
Yes, ma'am. The
constituents.
city council will be shared a proposed solid waste management plan before the first hearing. We'll publish it on our website for public comment, and we'll do our public hearings.
Is there a reason why we can't have it now? If he already has it?
I
We
don't
do a
know
lot
if he's
of
making
reading.
any finishing, but if he's ready to go, we can send the proposed
But
to
not
council.
for us to present it, but so that I can get some barriers and maybe have some questions that will be near and dear to me and the other people will have. We need to just be proactive in these things, and just like that GSP.
We just need to be prepared though,
Be
so I wanna make
prepared.
sure.
That is the
Yeah, I
point.
wanna make sure that, you know, I
And
don't wanna be
I'm-
proactive when we're not prepared, so.
Okay, and so to be prepared, but if the part of being prepared, I'd like to have some advance notice so that I can read and not be rushed into August. There are a lot of
Well,
things
yes,
that we
ma'am,
got
and,
going on.
I
It's just an
look forward
idea.
to you reading this document.
Yes.
It is really exciting. But we will send it to city council as soon as it is ready to go. I've read the pre-draft, so I think there's just probably some tweaks that we're making to it. As soon as it's ready, city council will be the first to see it.
And we have kind of a artificial hiatus from June,
Yes, it is. That's the date we want.
from beginning of July to the beginning of August. So it'll be plenty of time on your free time to be able to review all of those things, and we can.
Don't y'all plan anything really important?
July, August, what's the dates? You know?
We do the first meeting in July, right, and then we don't reconvene until the first meeting in August.
Okay.
And it's going to be the same schedule, so we'll be doing mid-year budget and financials before we take our quote-unquote summer recess, and then we get back. It's going to be millage rate adoption time, so, you know, the mid-year is pretty important in terms of our financial responsibilities for the city, but there is time for a break in between for that last part of July.
We want you to rest up, spend time with your families. We want council to, our staff to not have to live under the pressure of preparing for us, and then we get back and hit it hard again.
So again, y'all not hearing me. I'm saying from July to August, that's exactly what I want to be doing. But if you're saying that we're going to be getting this information in August, when are we going to get this?
No,
Ma'am, you're going to get this.
right here.
You're going to get this before the first public hearing.
Okay.
And there will be plenty of time between the first public hearing and the second public hearing for you to digest what's in the plan.
Okay.
Most of it is very, very technical. Most of it is not exciting and does not change our service areas. It's about a lot about what our landfill capacity is, who our partners are. So
Well, I'm very
how we're complicit.
familiar with that. I was an
Yeah.
environmental health and safety parent, but I'm just saying that kind of technical stuff,
Yes, ma'am.
we should get some advance notice so that when
Yes,
people
ma'am. We
ask
will.
us, we can tell them what it's about.
We will send you that. We will send you that plan.
Thank you so much, sir. I
Mr. City
appreciate you.
Manager, we have another slide or two.
We do have another topic so if y'all are ready to move on
Yes,
to
sir.
glass
I thought we were
recycling.
finished.
We are.
Move forward.
One of us has been waiting for one slide in this whole presentation, and I think it's the next one.
I think it is. Here we go. Okay.
There it is. All
So
right.
we saved the big one for the end. Let's hear it.
It is.
Well, I'm glad this is the big topic.
All of it for him. All of it is.
As you know, our
King of geekdom.
our glass recycling drop-off program was suspended for reason in 2024. So what we're looking to do now is we're trying to bring back that drop-off program. Our initial phase will be to stand up 7 glass recycling locations throughout the city of Savannah. To assist with that, the city of Savannah was awarded a $251,000 recycling and conversion grant from EPD in January of 2026 to help fund that. We plan to release a request for proposal in June of 2026. and then to kick off the program in the first quarter of 2027. And our next slide and our last slide will be just showing some of the tentative glass recycling locations and where they'll be. Those will be where we tentatively plan to stand up 7 of our first phase of the recycling drop-off program. And that's all I have. Thank you.
In reference to, since there are only a few dots on the map, can it be stated in words where these recycling locations are?
Certainly. So Bacon Park Transfer Station, Barnes Restaurant, Capitol Street Fire Station,
Yes.
Coffee Bluff Fire Station, Dean Forest Road Landfill, Savannah Fire Station 14, which is out in the Highlands, and the SPD Northwest Precinct. So those are going to be the 7 locations for the glass recycling that is proposed in our proposal. So just for City Council's knowledge on the next step, if you can go back to the previous slide, please, Mr. Director. So we're going to have an RFP released in June. We will receive proposals back, and that means we will hopefully be bringing a authorization for a contract to City Council by the end of this year so that we can start glass recycling drop off in the first quarter of 2027. So hopefully the next thing you see regarding this is an authorization for me to sign a contract for glass recycling.
Good job.
Alderman Palumbo.
Oh, thank you so much, team. And you know I'm excited because this is the white whale of waste management in the cycle, because it's a commodity that's just trying to find the market. And I know we did the pilot and we were heartbroken, you know, when that didn't work out, and it wasn't any cause on our end. You know, it was just the vendor that we were working with. So I really deeply appreciate Ms. Mason, her team, and all of you guys for keeping at it, finding a new opportunity to kickstart this, and it's a catalyst. But for the community, for this to work, we need people to recycle their glass to feed the machine, because we're going to need glass to make this work and make sure that it pencils out. There is value in it, so I'm excited to see it coming back online. I know it's not easy, but really in the long run, it's going to help us deal with the mythology that has emerged around recycling programs, especially in our community. Because you hear it all the time. Oh, the city of Savannah doesn't recycle. Yes, they do. There are certain products that are in it because it changes all the time. But this is going to help get us back online again. I really appreciate you guys sticking with it and finding new opportunities.
Yeah.
I know it's not the most important thing in the presentation today, but it's much appreciated. So thank you.
I think it deserves a public service announcement. Like, you can only recycle things that can be recycled.
Right.
And that have a market for recycling. And we do collect recycling curbside for many, many objects. Please make sure that what you're putting in that bin is recyclable, and it's clean, and it's not tainted or compromised, because that means that your whole cart, instead of going through recycling, goes to the landfill. So if you want to be a responsible recycler and you want to make sure what you're putting in those bins ends up being reused in some form and not in the landfill, be a responsible recycler and don't just throw anything in those bins. Make sure you know what can be recycled.
Alderman Blakely.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Now, we're gonna do this, it's gonna be successful, and that's great. But how are we gonna separate the glass? Will we just put the glass right in there with everything and then somebody else separate?
So that's what's different about glass than some of the plastics that we were able to, and paper and cardboard that we're able to collect from residents. Is glass needs a different recycling stream and its own recycling stream. Right. So that's why right now, to get glass recycling back up and running, if you want to recycle glass, and we want you to recycle glass, you're going to have to bring your glass to one of these 7 locations.
Okay, got it.
And there will be a specific receptacle and container for glass And once we have a contractor, that contractor wants that glass, and they'll haul that glass off and recycle it and turn it in to another product for use. But we want glass out of our landfill stream. It's heavy, it takes up a lot of space, and it's able to be recycled. But the key to recycling is you have to have a market for the recyclable. And glass right now there's difficult, it's a more challenging market than other types of recyclable materials. So this is the solution that we want to bring back to the city here, which is this convenience drop-off type of glass recycling. Hopefully in the future, there will be a bigger market for glass recycling. We'll be able to do that, a residential glass recycling pickup. So we really want to evolve and innovate here, but this is a service that we really do want to bring back to residents.
Sounds good.
Anyone else? I want to make a comment. We did do recycling in the city of Savannah since I've been here, and it became cumbersome for our staff, but it's been a really, really loud outcry from our citizens here in the city of Savannah. So it's been said already, we're bringing it back. Just like we have gotten on board with our yellow top recycling. I'm pretty sure the numbers are up on our recycling here in the city of Savannah. We're gonna need the community, the public, to get on board. If we're gonna keep it and be successful with it, everybody have to do their part. So let's get it done. We're bringing it back. Anything else, City Manager?
No, ma'am.
All right, so no, which call it? Executive session? All right, so we shall convene at 2 o'clock for our city council meeting. Thank you all so much.